Here it is. That moment you've all been waiting for. Fire! Hold on tight, because you're tuned in to Momentum Media's Success Talk. Oh, yeah! With your favorite host, Ryan Durden.
All right, so we're live. We're here with Adam Porche. This is Momentum Media's Success Talk, where we discuss courage, leadership, and most importantly, what it takes to succeed. So, Adam, I like to start off every interview with who you are, where you come from, and what it is that you do.
All right. Well, my name's Adam Porche. I've had the nickname Adam Bomb since I was like 10 years old when I was wrestling. So it led into Adam Bomb. Then whenever I became a coach, Coach Bomb. And so that's where I got the name Coach Bomb from. Like I mentioned before, though, I wrestled all through, high school, everything growing up. Started a wrestling team with a buddy of mine about 10 years ago, and that went well. And I enjoyed just really like giving back. I enjoyed coaching. I enjoyed helping people, find their potential and just really go out and do what they're meant to do,
Yeah.
And so I fell in love with that. Growing up, I wish I had a little bit more direction in my life. About 14, 15, up till about 18, got bad off on drugs, things like that. And it led me to make a few bad decisions in my life. I caught myself, got sober at 18.
Nice.
And, 16 years later, life is great. I got 3 kids. I got the wife, construction company that I've owned since I was about 21. And wasn't until about 2 years ago I found my real true passion, though, was coaching and speaking and really, just like I said, helping others.
Yeah.
So that's when I just decided to take that as a career path, as a journey that I need to be doing to give back, not only to the youth, the ones that I'm coaching, things like that, but also guys my age, gals my age that have, just kind of got lost in the wilderness, I guess you could say, and looking for their path, and they just can't find it. Like something's not connecting, something's not clicking. And so that's what I do. I help them, just really find their passion and then find their potential and then utilize it to the best of their ability, become their best self, I guess you could say.
Nice. And so you started this 2 years ago, like full time. What was it that like hit hit the light switch and was like, this is what I want to do?
A couple of different things just really pushing me in that direction. But so my wife and I were in a network marketing company, and it was a good thing. We did well. We made some money, and there was this event, and I spoke at it, and it was just like a little, 5-10 minute get up on stage, speak, and I just kind of spoke from the heart, just with passion, and that was that. So that was in like June or July. Well, about August, September, around that time, we're at a convention, and this guy walks up to me in the bathroom, and he's like, "Hey, you're Adam, right?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm Adam. I figured I met him before and just forgot his face,
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, you don't know me, but when you spoke at that event a few months back, I was going through a tough time in my life. Like my dad died. I didn't know where I was going. And, what you said just really spoke to my heart, and it changed my whole outlook on life. And I just want to say thank you."
Wow.
And now this dude is like, late 40s, early 50s, successful, owned a few businesses. And he came to me and said, like, thank you for changing his life and for speaking to him. And that's when I just realized, like, I'm playing too small.
Yeah.
Like I've got to play big. If I want to make an impact, I got to make an impact. I got to step up out of my shell, be confident, and just go after it,
Yeah. Well, so what have you done? What have you accomplished in the past 2 years with your coaching business?
Well, I mean, just slowly getting started, as with anything, you just got to develop a rhythm and get your pattern going.
Yeah.
But, from just coaching athletes, former athletes, helping them find their passion, because like I noticed a lot of guys, wrestling's my background, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these guys, they were national champs or state champs, and you look at them on the wrestling mat and they're just like, man, this guy's a genius. He's everything. You know, he's perfect out there. He's got it all.
Right.
And you see him 10 years down the road, and it's like they're not the same person they were in the wrestling mat. You know, it's
Right.
like they have that identity, but they can't translate it into real life, you know? So that's what I was able to do. I worked with a few athletes, helped them, you know, find their spot in life. A couple of guys as well that, you know, they were on the wrong side of the tracks. They had to get sobered up. You know, they
Right.
came to me for help and coaching them to where now they own their own businesses, legitimate businesses, and they're doing well with life. They're sober. They're good fathers, you know, helping their families, things like that. And to
Right.
me, that right there is just, that's such an impact, because it's like, I may not be the next president, but I might coach somebody to be the next president,
That's
and they
it.
could change the world, right?
That's
You know,
it.
so whatever it is, as long as I'm making that impact somewhere and changing people's lives. So I've had quite a few clients over the past 2 years that I've helped, and, you know, speaking at events, doing workshops, helping teams grow and become better and get that cohesiveness and things of that nature.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what are some of the like strategies or some of the things that you do to help people get to that level?
Well, you know, basically like one-on-one coaching, just kind of helping them find their own, you know, spot and help them along their journey. But
Yeah.
I have just this little method, right? Because I'd always get people to, I coach their kids, or another thing, I'm Catholic. I teach confirmation at church.
I
So
see
that's
I
another
see the
thing that I
cross in the
do.
back.
Yeah, you know. So I teach confirmation at church, so I'm active there, and you know, and then I'm very active with my kids, all three of them. You know, I'm been with the same woman 16 years. I got a construction company, so people always come to me and say, "Well, man, like you're sober, you got this, you got that. How do you do it all? Like, how do you juggle that?" You know, and it was just kind of, well, it just kind of came to me, you
Yeah.
know, and then that's when it clicked that all this, you know, success at coaching, success at business, success at relationships, there's all these underlying, you know, just general details that you use. There's something there that's going to help you do it in all of them, right?
Right.
And so I was like, well, how do I do it? You know? And
Mm-hmm.
that's where I came up with, life is based off of fear. Everything we do is fear, right? You know, fear of losing what we have or not getting what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And we can either try and avoid fear, get rid of fear, which I tried that for so long, it doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
So we got to play through that fear. We got to just live through it, walk through it, and we got to play afraid. Whatever we do, we play afraid. And afraid's an acronym. And real quick, A is awareness. You got to be aware that there's something that needs to change. You know, if you want to be a superstar athlete, you got to be aware that you want that you're not a superstar athlete. You got to do something to get there.
Exactly.
You know, if you want to, you know, be the number one salesperson in your company, then you got to be aware that there's some changes that need to be made.
Right.
You know, and so what I did was be aware. Finally, just realizing that there's something needs to change. And then F, focus. We got to focus on what we've got to do. What is our end goal, right? So yeah, you might want to be the number one salesperson in your company, but that's not going to really get you out of bed. Why do you want to be the number one salesperson in your company? Is it more money? Is it that freedom? Is it, you know, to put it in Billy's face at the office that you're number one, he's number, you know, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Or more money so that you could take your daughter to Disneyland and get her to meet Cinderella or Moana or whoever, right? So what is the result of the result? That's our main focus. That's what's going to get us out of bed in the morning. That's what's going to get us moving, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And then now, we got to recommit. Whatever that goal is, we got to recommit to that goal. And that right there is just me telling myself, hey, I'm committing, I'm doing this, whether you like it or not, we're rolling. Or to my accountability partner, or to my wife, or tell my daughter that I'm going to be number one salesperson to get that money, so I'm taking her to Disney World.
Right.
So now she's going to be calling me out. She's 4 years old, but she knows how to call her dad out, right?
Right, that's it.
And so I recommit. That's more the mental area of it. And then we've got A for action. We've got to take action. We've got to create that game plan. You know, if I want to lose 20 pounds, I got to take some action. You know, I can't just commit to it and that's it.
Right.
So if I want to be number one salesperson, I got to take action. I got to make the calls. I got to get on it. I got to go knock on doors. I got to be at the office first. I got to leave last. I got to do self growth. I got
Right.
to, whatever it takes. I
Right.
got to get this, that's my end game.
Yep.
Focus.
That's it.
And so now I'm doing my actions. That's great. But I got to be intense about my actions and intentional. And the definition that I found of intense is passionately focused. And what that means is wherever you are, be there. Whatever you're doing, do that. I can, these kids that I coach in wrestling, right? They come to practice and I show them the move, but they're off in the corner talking about math class or Clash of Clans or Fortnite or whatever. It's like, well, man, you might as well not even be here, right? Because your mind's not here.
Right.
So I want to be the best father that I can be. I got to be there with my kids and not just playing on my phone while we're in the room together.
Right.
If I want to be the best entrepreneur, I've got to be present. If I can only devote 10 hours to my business a week, I better be there for 10 of those hours, right?
Right.
So intense action, that's a pair, and they've got to be together. And then D is for dedication. So you got to dedicate yourself to that goal, right? So day 1, day 2, you're motivated, you're pumped up. But day 29, when you just lost that big deal, or, it's raining outside and you're just tired and you don't feel like getting out of bed, it's really 7 a.m. already.
Right.
You've got to dedicate yourself. And that's where it goes back to that focus. If you've got a good enough focus, if you've got a good enough why, the result of the result of the result, you're going to jump out of bed and you dedicate yourself to that purpose day in, day out until it's fully completed, right?
Exactly.
So I don't dedicate myself to something and then not complete it.
Right.
You dedicate a building, it's there for life, right? You dedicate your purpose, you're there till it's completed.
Right.
And I'm from Lafayette, Louisiana. I don't know how they do it out there, but we spell afraid with 2 D's because we're Cajun. No.
That's funny. So you got another D in there?
There's another D, man. And that D is do it again, right? And the reason I say do it again is because sometimes we're going to fall short of our goals. Sometimes we're not going to be as dedicated as we want. Sometimes we're not going to be as focused, or that action may not be there. So you know what? You can always start over. You can do it again every day. You can play afraid 3, 4, 5 times a day if you want to, right?
Right.
Just do it again. Just do it again. But also for do it again, let's say you knock that goal out of the park. Let's say you're number one salesman in the company, or you just started this business and it's number 1 on the NYSE and you're just doing it, or you're whatever your goal is, right?
Right.
Well, success is a journey. It's not a destination. You see, when you get to the top of that mountain, it's not the end of the journey, but a better vantage point to see the next mountains that you're going to climb.
Right.
So if you did great in your job, then what's the next promotion? Or if you did well with that, well, I'm great at business. What about my family life? What about my health? What about, all these other things in life that I can be doing? And so that's when you create that success all around and you bulletproof your life. So afraid is like a lifestyle change. It's just living your life a certain way. And so I do workshops on that, showing people how to live afraid in their life, whether it be relationships or work or business or however you want to do it, fitness.
Yeah.
And working with them through that as well. So
do you think winners are born, or do you think winners are made?
I think winners are a product of their environment to an extent. You see, and the reason I say that is anybody can be a winner, right? But a lot of people, when I say a product of their environment, it's like, oh, I was raised on the wrong side of the tracks. That was this. No, what I mean by that is, what is my perception of my environment?
That's it.
And that's what makes a winner. You see, because I was born, my dad left when my mom was pregnant. He boogied out. So it was just me and my mom, right? We didn't have, like I was scheming on my cousin's shoes at Christmas because I knew I was getting those the following year. That's how it was. It is what it is. But it's all about your perception of reality. Did I focus on my dad didn't love me, he left when my mom was pregnant? Or did I focus on my mom is there and she's got all the love in the world for me. And I've got 8 uncles and a grandfather that are there for me 100%, you know? So that's where you got to change your perception. And that's what creates a winner. You know, that's what creates the environment that you live in now, is how you perceive it.
Right.
And you can perceive your environment the right way. That breeds confidence. That breeds success. And that's when you can go out there and take over the world, man.
That's it. And perception is everything. So it's like a lot of people just look at the negative in every situation. And those people are they're just stuck in a rut, and they're working that 9 to 5, that they're changing jobs every month, and they're never getting ahead. So perception, I think, is key to anything in life. Like, you have to be able to see from the positive side of everything rather than the negative. And if you can change your mind, if you can train your mind to change every negative situation into a positive situation, then you're going to be that much better. I totally agree. So entrepreneurs, do you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
Yes, I do, because I found that I cannot, just live a normal life. It's crazy. You know, I was talking with a guy that I'm working with right now, and he's just like, man, I got a great job. I come home 9 to 5, things are good, and he's like, but there's something missing. There's something extra, And I told him, I said, that's just it. That's like our curse, because to me, that's the entrepreneur's curse, because you always want to be doing better. You can't sit still in that sense.
Right.
It's like you want to grow. You want to constantly grow and be creating more and play on a bigger level, create more of an impact. And to me, that's that entrepreneur spirit, whether it be creating your own business and going out and knocking it out of the park, or just creating more of an impact with what you're doing and who you're around. That to me is that spirit.
Right.
You just want to do more, and I've got it. I got it.
So because we're humans and we operate out of fear, do you think a lot of people just don't want to be entrepreneurs because they fear the work that they have to put in? Or do you think that they just don't want to put in the work?
I see where you go. So is it fear, or is it the lazy?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of just, I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest with you, because I've seen that on my journey the last 15 years. The way that I started my construction company was the boss just showed up one day and he was high as a kite. And of course he didn't have payroll. So it was like, what's going on here? Well, next day he goes to rehab, and there's me and 6 guys that are like, dude, we don't have jobs anymore.
Yeah.
And so 2 weeks later, we're hustling work. We're calling around looking for something, and no one could find a job. So I called all the guys up and said, hey, you know what? If I start my own company and I find work, would y'all work for me? They're like, dude, we worked for you already. You were the lead guy. Jimmy was never there anyway,
Right.
And so started the business. But it's a matter of willing to step out of your shell and face that fear. Like you said, getting out of that fear of, what if I fail? What if I called those 6 guys and they said, no, dude, you're only 21. We don't want to work for you.
Right.
Or they wouldn't look up to me, or whatever,
Is this your construction business?
Yes, this was my construction business, starting that up.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of like, you just got to step through that fear. You just got to move on. You just got to go through it and do it. So I think a lot of it has to do with fear. Yeah. But on the same token, whenever I started that company, I also looked at, well, now I got to find work, and I got to find work consistently, and I got to talk to people, and I got to do this, and I got to make sure everything goes well. And, I'm working till 3 o'clock in the morning, sometimes waking up at 7, just trying to make it go, because there is a ton of work involved.
Yeah.
And I think once people get past that fear, sometimes they realize the amount of work, and then that is what makes them, dude, I can't handle this. They throw in the towel and they move on back to a job.
Yeah, stress.
Then they're gonna just be, they're not gonna be fulfilled, and they're gonna be tossing and turning at night. They're gonna be, and that's the way it is. You just can't help. You've got that spirit,
Yeah. It's an itch, man. I can't see myself with a regular 9 to 5. I haven't since I was 22 years old, man. So I don't think I'll ever go back to that.
You can't go back,
With your construction, you still have your construction business?
Yes.
Out of those 6 people, how many are still there with you?
Out of those six, none. No, it's with construction. It's kind of like a restaurant. You know, I framed houses and did trim work.
Yeah.
It's kind of like restaurants. There's a high turnover.
Right. But the company's still going.
Oh yeah, the company's still going strong. I've got 3 guys that work for me now that
Yeah.
are full time, and they go out. We do remodels now, which is a little bit lower key, a little bit more money, a little bit less, stress, I guess, or less,
Yeah.
So we do that, and it goes well. The guys are great. They just, they basically it runs itself. I just got to make sure everything is good, which allows me time for my coaching and my speaking and travel and things like that.
Exactly. So me and you, I don't know how far you've done research on me, but we kind of have the similar story where my boss laid everybody off, and I took the company, and I took the best of the best from the company, and I started my own business that way.
All right.
So it's kind of similar to your story. So it kind of resonated with me there. Cool, man. So what is your definition of success?
My definition of success to me is just living each day to the fullest, giving each day 100%. So if I can go to bed that night with my head on the pillow and say, you know what, I knocked what I wanted to knock out today. Mm-hmm. I did well. I gave it my 100%. Then that's success to me. It really is. If I was the best dad I could be, I was the best, business owner that I could be, and I was the best husband I could be, then that's really all, I was the best Adam that I can be.
Right.
And to me, that's success, because, if I take, basically I plan out, what I want, where are my goals, things like that. And then I plan out the action steps that it's going to take to get there. Mm-hmm. So each day I've got certain necessary steps that I've got to do to get there.
Right.
Well, if each day I give it 100% and do what I'm supposed to do, then that's success to me, because you keep adding those days up, eventually you'll have that big goal,
right.
And so really just being me, just being authentic 100% Adam and giving it everything that I've got, that's success.
How important is like planning out your day to success?
Me especially 100%, I've got a little thing, before they called it ADHD, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, I cannot focus. I've got so many things going on, so many ideas that are just flowing through my head. And that's a good thing. It's a great thing, because I'm always thinking, always looking for, what's the next thing that I could be doing great. Exactly. But on the same token, I could forget. I could get on the phone with somebody at 1:45 and say, hey, we got an appointment at 2:00. Hey, great. I'm excited. I'm, waiting on your call.
Yeah.
And 2:00 rolls around. I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally spaced.
Yeah.
I have to have my schedule written out. I have to look over that plan. I have to make sure that I have everything laid out, because if not, I'm everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm the same exact way. Just like this podcast, I was 15 minutes late. We're closing a big deal. So, but things come up, and you gotta do what you gotta do, and
that's life, man.
Make it work. And sometimes when you write out things, like you may not get to everything on your list. And
absolutely. Yeah.
That's fine too. I mean, the more you scratch off, the more endorphins you build, the more positivity, but don't get down if you don't get to everything. You still have another day,
Exactly. And that's where I'm at. It's like, I just, like I said, be the best me possible. Right.
Yeah.
So some days I might, something that was going to take 2 hours might have taken 5 or 6,
Right.
And I might have to take something on that list and put it on the next day. But you know what? Whatever I was doing, I did, and I gave it my all, right? Yeah. And the plan's there. God's got a plan. It's going to work out on its own anyway. So
that's it. That's success. Giving 100%, being the best you can be. What is your definition of failure?
Failure. I mean, which is basically the exact opposite. It's just not giving it what not giving it what you can. And that right there is, some days we're going to fall short. Some days we will, but there's those things where it's like, I just know better, and I didn't do it anyway. And I made a conscious decision to not do it. To me, that's a failure in my book. You know, if I am well capable, you know, I can either watch the new season of Orange is the New Black, which I ain't gonna lie, I did, dude. I blocked that out of my schedule. So, but it's like I could watch the new season of a TV show, or I've got this pressing issue that needs to be done.
Right.
And I make a conscious decision to not do that, even though I've got 3 hours of time. I've got the pen, the paper, everything is, I'm well capable of doing it, but I choose not to.
Right.
To me, that's a failure in my book. And, you know, whenever I'm going over my day at the end of the day, then it's like, you know what, I totally could have did better on that, you know, and it's not like, you know, where you take a misstep. Let's say you know, I'm writing a paper or something like that, and I accidentally delete half of it, you know, which that happens too, right? You can't click undo sometimes. That's a mistake. And that, you know, I did the best I could, and it just didn't get done, versus, you know, I just made a conscious decision not to.
Right.
And that, to me,
blowing up over here, man. Yeah, that's failure right there. So there's a big difference between making a mistake and failing. Like,
yeah, right. Making a conscious decision to not do it. You know, it's like, you know, I mean, like I tell my son, you know, I'm like, look, you made an 85 on that test, you know, or you made an 80 on that test. That's okay, because you gave it what you got. You know, you tried your best. But if you come home with a goose egg, that's a failure, dude, because I know you didn't try.
Exactly.
And that's where it's at. I guess that's an easier way to put it.
Yeah, man. And I see you have some Grant Cardone stuff in the bag. You got Success Is My Duty.
Yeah, and then you see the Obsessed. Yeah,
yeah, man.
I like it, man. He really helped me along my journey as an entrepreneur, and plus, like, he's from an hour away from where I live.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, he's from Lake Charles, which is like about an hour and 15 minutes away.
Okay.
So it's cool. I kind of resonate with him on that level.
Yeah.
And 10X Rule was where I really first heard about him. Read the book. I liked the book. Just playing on a bigger level, right? Just stepping up to that. And then I got into a lot more of his stuff, just listening to him when, you know, his little shows, things like that.
Yeah.
And what's really cool, though, that I like about him, my wife and I, is, you know, how he does, like, I don't know if he still does it. It's been a while, but the G&E show with him and Elena.
Yep.
And, you know, so it's like, that's so cool. And like the way that he might be Grant Cardone, he might be the man, but if you look at his story on Instagram, he's always like, there's the woman right there, you know?
Yeah.
She's the one that's behind the scenes. She does everything. She's awesome. And like, that's the way I am with my wife, because like, she really is. She's behind the scenes. She lets me get that glory. She lets me be the, you know, I guess the pretty face, you know, but she's there, you know, she backs me up. She helps me out. She pushes me in the right direction. And on those days, you know, when I've got about 2-3 hours left, she's the one that's going to push me to say, hey, look, are you going to be a success or a failure today? You need to get your butt up and go do something, you know?
That's it, man. That is it.
That's it. She's willing to call me out on my stuff. But yeah, I love his vibe, you know, about how he is with his wife and how he is with business.
Yeah, he's good. Hey, and did you go to the Growth Con last year?
No, I had it was like wrestling tournaments that I coach and things like that. And because he had 2 of them, and there was one of them where it was like, you're not gonna be at the Growth Con right now, you know. I was just kind of like, you know, I could be there, but you know, I got other things, you know, and I could always watch it. You know, I could watch it record. That's good, you know. But to me, being there for my sons, because like I said, I didn't have a dad growing up, right?
Right.
So those nights that I laid down, kind of like, man, I wish I had a dad that would do this with me. Yeah. I wish I had a dad that would do this. Right. Well, I made it a point that I'm that dad.
Right.
And I'm going to be there. And my kids kind of don't like it sometimes because dad's always in the mix, you know, but I'd rather be there too much and not enough.
Exactly.
So,
exactly, man. I definitely feel that, man. I definitely feel that. I'm the same way with my kids. I coach my kids' football team. So
I see that. Yeah.
I'm trying to be the best dad I can be. That's first and foremost, man, for sure.
Absolutely.
Cool, man. So where can everybody find you? Your social media, you have a website.
Yeah, www.coach-bomb.com, and then coachbomb.com, baby.
I like it.
So, oh yeah, and then I on Facebook, it's Coach Bomb 337,
Okay.
and then Instagram and Twitter, it's Coach_Bomb.
Nice.
And you can find me there. I'm, fairly active. I do like the Instagram and then just send it out to Facebook and
Right.
Twitter.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
I'll reply and things like that on there as well.
Cool, man. So Instagram is your favorite platform right now?
Yeah, it's just I was a Facebook guy, and then it got to where, things weren't popping up on your feed. It was just getting harder to maneuver, harder to operate because the wrong things were coming up. And
Yeah.
I find with Instagram, I just get a lot more visibility.
Yeah.
And, I was the guy that was like, dude, you're just putting a picture up. It's stupid. Why
Yeah.
Instagram? And then now I'm like, you're not on that IG, man? What's going on?
Right, yeah.
So I think that's kind of like the wave of the future as well. A lot of things are migrating there. So yeah, I'm very active on Instagram. My website is up. You could find out more about me, just a little bit about, who I am, all that good stuff. And you could also download the Play Afraid Blueprint, which
What is it called?
The Play Afraid Blueprint.
Play Afraid. Okay.
Yeah, which basically, that afraid that I told you about.
Yep.
It's just a blueprint. It goes into, just kind of explains each letter like I just did, gets a little bit more in depth. And I've also got a workbook that's available for purchase. And what it does is it really breaks it down. It takes each letter. It asks you questions about that letter and helps you really become aware. Find out what you're really truly becoming aware of or focused on or recommitted to. And then it's got the little affirmations and, action steps and things like that you could follow.
That's awesome.
So if anyone's interested in that as well.
Cool, man. So if you can leave the world with one message, what would that message be?
Man, this is one of my favorite quotes, and I think I made it up, but I may not have, so I'm just going to say it, right?
Yeah.
But I put this on the end of all my emails and stuff. It's like there's a moment in a person's life where a single decision will change everything. One of those moments is now, and that decision is the one that you're about to make. Make the right decision and just do it. Because you see, there's always that, one little thing that's going to change the whole trajectory of your life.
Right.
And just do it. Make that decision. Is it a yes or a no? Are you going to live in fear and not do it? Or are you going to just walk through that fear, play afraid, and just change your life, right? If I would have never, took the step to go to Arizona, to get sober, I would have never met my wife. And I would have never had my kids. I would not be where I'm at today,
Right.
So there's just those little tiny decisions, those little instances where it's like you don't realize it at the time, but it will change your whole life, your whole outlook on life.
That's right.
It can change the world.
That's right.
So what do you do? Step up to the plate. Let's make it happen, right?
Yeah, stop being scared. Go out and do it. Cool, man. Well, it's been an honor and a pleasure. We'll definitely connect and keep growing together. But I really appreciate you coming on the show today, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time, man. And I'm looking forward, like you said, connecting, keeping in touch, watching each other grow. That's gonna be good, man.
For sure, bro. For sure.
All right.
All right.